In this tutorial, we're going to be downloading some virtual machine software and then downloading a Kali Linux virtual machine and learning how to run Kali Linux as a virtual machine on pretty much any Windows or Macintosh computer, with one exception. If you are using one of the newer M1 Macs, this video, at least as of the time of this recording, won't work for you. There's going to be a different video covering that, but for Intel-based Macs, particularly older Macs, this is going to work just fine. If you don't know what type of Mac you have, get in touch with me and I will help you figure this out. So the first thing we need to do is we need to download some virtual machine software. So to do that, we are actually going to go to virtualbox.org. And so you can, make sure that you're actually going to virtualbox.org and not, an imposter site. There are a few out there. But go to virtualbox.org, get in the habit of making sure that, the lock icon is there indicating that, the certificate is recognized, and you can have a high degree of confidence that, this is what you're looking for. So you need to download VirtualBox 6.1. It's pretty easy. I'm not going to do it here. I'm already running it. If you're using Windows, pop this one. If you're using a Mac, again, a non-M1 Mac, go ahead and use this one, and go ahead and just go through the install process. You can accept the defaults. That's fine. It's just like downloading any other software you might download on your computer. So it's really straightforward. Once you have VirtualBox up and running, it's going to look like this, except it's going to be, you're not going to have any virtual machines. So it's going to be empty, but you can still pop it open and take a look. And then I'm going to show you how to add Kali Linux to this. And the nice thing is it's really, really easy. So to get Kali Linux for a virtual machine, you're going to go to kali.org. Same deal. Make sure you're actually at kali.org. Get in the habit of checking this little padlock here if you're new to this, to make sure that this is an actual site and not a pretend fake site. And then to get Kali, we're going to go to Get Kali. There are a lot of different versions or flavors of Kali Linux that you can download. You can download older versions. You can download for mobile, cloud, ARM. It doesn't matter, right? So, there's all sorts of different options. So other folks in this class are working with Live Boot. This is, the USB one, but in this one, we are using virtual machines. So we are going to click on virtual machines. There are two different options. You can get them for VMware or you can get them for VirtualBox. As we saw, we're downloading VirtualBox right now, so we're going to be using VirtualBox. Odds are you are using the 64-bit version. If you're on an especially old computer, you might be 32-bit. But again, odds are you're going to be 64-bit for anybody, any computer that's, mid 2010s and higher. So if you have questions about it, you need help figuring out which type of computer you have, we'll figure out for you. But again, odds are it's 64-bit. You're going to go ahead and download it. So just click this download button. It will download. I've already done it. It is not a small file, so it's going to take at least a couple of minutes, maybe a little bit longer if you're running slow. But yeah, go ahead and download that. And then to open it, all you got to do, once it's downloaded, all you got to do is open it, right? And you're going to get something like this, and it's going to ask you, how to import it. Again, you can just, go ahead and keep the defaults. We're going to accept the licensing terms. We're going to agree to that, and everything is going to work just fine. It's now importing that virtual disk image to VirtualBox. And so I'm going to pause the video here just because, as you can see, it's going to take a little bit of time. And I will show you the last bit of setup you need to do in apparently 4 minutes. So I will be back. And that was it. So after it finishes importing, it's going to automatically load itself to VirtualBox. Really simple. No real setup for you. It's all pretty slick. And so when you open VirtualBox, you will see, your Kali Linux instance sitting right here, and it's going to have a title very similar, particularly if you downloaded it at the same time. So as I did with the same version. So you can change the name up here in settings, so you can name it whatever you want. But we actually do need to go and mess with settings anyway. So we need to change the networking settings to make some of these labs work. So in network, this is really easy. You're going to probably be default NAT, and I'm not going to go into what this is yet. We'll cover it more in one of the advanced classes, the technical capstone course that you'll take in this program. But all you really need to know is that you're going to switch this to bridged. So we're going to go default will be NAT. You will just switch to bridge. and you can rename the system if you want. And you can actually mess with other settings in here. This cool thing about a virtual machine is that you can't, like, if you mess something up and you play around with the setting and you break it, just destroy the virtual machine and download another one. It's a really cool way to play around with a computer or an operating system in a really low risk way. But that's the only change we're going to make right now. And then you can see to fire this up, you just click start. And it might take a second depending on how beefy your computer is. So we will just let this fire up. And here we go. It is launching. All right. So we don't want advanced options. We just want to launch Kali Linux. You can X out of this stuff here. As long as your mouse and keyboard work, you're probably good to go. All right, so just like with the USB Live version, your default password and username is going to be Kali Kali. For this class, there's really no reason to change it. We're not going to be hooking this up to the internet. So you can leave it in the nice, easy way to use. We do probably need to mess with the view settings though. So right now, obviously, this is a little funky. So we can go into settings and we can mess around with the display and settings. So you can come on down here and you can mess with display. I'm not going to do that. Again, just fiddle with the settings until this gets to the point where it looks a little bit better for you. And then the other thing I really just want you to do is make sure that your mouse and keyboard work. So obviously my mouse works fine. To see if your keyboard works, you're just going to come down here to this text editor and you're just going to go blah blah blah, right? Just make sure that your keyboard works, your mouse works. And then another nifty little trick or thing to check out is hop up here to Firefox. It is the Firefox icon. You have full internet access on this sucker, and just make sure that you can hit something on the internet. So Google looks like Google loads just fine. No thanks. We're going to go test. And hey, look, the internet works just fine in this virtual machine. Again, the display is funky. That's all fixable. Go ahead and mess with settings to get the display the way you want it. You can also play around with the view options to see if that fixes anything for you. And so you can make this, you can fiddle with this to your heart's content. And again, it's a virtual machine. If you mess something up, it's totally not a big deal. You just go ahead and kill the virtual machine and start over. And that's it. This is how you get up and running in Kali Linux in a VM. And this is, you can do all your labs from this virtual machine for this class. So congratulations on getting up and running with Kali Linux and have fun.
This tutorial was prepared by the Center for Cybersecurity and Privacy Protection at Cleveland Marshall College of Law, Cleveland State University.